Came all the way here. I guess I ought to drive this thing. Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to look at some old tractors. My buddy Paul Case sent me a message, said, hey, you want to come look at an old tractor? I didn't even ask what it was. I just said, yeah, let's do it. So I'm walking up to his house, and he's got this big old tractor here. It says Fiat on the back. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. People treat that Fiat like a curse word. Throw a fit because my Dodge is a Fiat. Let's see what we got here. It says Heston on the hood. I don't know a darn thing about old tractors, but I sure like them. Boy, Paul's got a belt over there that's crying out for help. I'm gonna walk through here real quick. I thought maybe Paul was in here. He's not. But if you guys haven't seen it, we did an hour-long video where we went through this building, which is packed full of antique tractors, and he told me the stories about all of them. It's a long video, but some good stories in it. I'll put the link to that video at the end. I thought you were on vacation or something, so I was just telling stories. I get chewed out all the time for having a Fiat tractor. I guess it's a curse word. I don't know anything about Fiat, but or Fiat truck.
Fiat truck.
I guess Ram was bought by Stellantis and Fiat and something. I don't know. They get mad and tell me about it.
Well, I discovered some really interesting things while trying to get these tractors to go. If you want to hear the story from the get-go, I'll give you the whole mess. The guy that my mom went to school with, graduated high school with, called me and he said, my buddy Steve, and I knew Steve because Steve had me saw logs for him before and had sold me logs. He says, Steve has 3 tractors that he wants to sell. And I said, really? Why are you calling me telling me Steve has 3 tractors he wants to sell? He said, because they're all sitting at my place. And I don't know how long they'd been there, but the guy had kind of moved out of the area like a year or 2 before that. And so I went over and looked at him, and he was wanting like $8,000 and $9,000 a piece for 2 of them, and the other one he wanted like $4,000 for. And all of them needed some kind of work. There wasn't any of them was going to be a deal where you just, you know, polish them a little bit and somebody would want them. And so I offered him half of what he was asking. And 2 years later, he texts me and says, I guess we'll take it. Yeah. He kind of acted insulted when I offered him half of it. And I said, I offered you that because I really don't want to do the work to, you know. And then 2 years later, he says, I'll take your offer. So I had to go back and like, what did I offer you? You know?
Yeah, that wasn't a lifetime guaranteed price that I haven't had that money in escrow waiting on you.
But the tractor market on the used stuff has gotten harder to find good used stuff, and it's higher than what it has been, especially on like older American-made muscle tractors. John Deere 80s and 70s and 90s, John Deere International, Case, all of them are bringing more money for good tractors than what they were. Fiat, I have no idea. But Kevin and I went down to this guy's place and went to piddling with him, and by the end of one day, we had all 3 of them home. The Fiat with the cab on it, did you picture it, the one that's sitting outside? Yeah. The clutch was out on it, and if you was watching my videos, which you apparently haven't been, or you'd have stories about that one already, we had it sitting right here, split apart because we had to change the clutch in it. And the clutch alone for that tractor, the parts, is $900. Yeah, it gets pretty pricey. A lot of guys, to change a clutch right now, if you have split the tractor, and it may be even more if it has a cab on it, they want $2,500 to start off with. But,
to do the work?
Mm-hmm. Just for the labor.
Yeah. So, if you guys like these old kind of tractors, you don't have to just see them on my channel once every couple months. Paul's doing this all the time on his.
I drive them. I use them.
60 horsepower. How much is yours? 38. Not right. he was saying something right now, it'd be, woo, doggy!
My dad has a little tractor that probably has the same engine as this, and it's a Alice Chalmers. It's actually sitting in the barn down there. It's 50 horsepower. And it's Fiat built, but it's Alice Chalmers. They built tractors for other companies in the States and sold them that way. They built some tractors back in the 60s and 70s for Alice Chalmers and White and Minneapolis Moline and Oliver. All of those had a Fiat tractor, and Alice Chalmers had several. Heston's a Kansas company. Did you know that?
I was thinking there was a town called Heston in Kansas.
Yep. Heston's a Kansas company, and they built. I'm not sure they ever built their own tractors, but they built windrowers and a lot of haying equipment and stuff like that.
So orchard tractor. What makes this an orchard tractor? What's different about them?
It's narrow, and it is adjustable on the front axle, but it's built really narrow. They put big fenders on orchard tractors, and those tractors are really the ones of them they made in the 50s and 60s and early 70s are really desirable for collectors, but I doubt this one is. They put wide fenders on them, try to make it to where the limbs would rub off the outsides of the tires and wouldn't knock the limbs loose of like a grove or orchard situation. They made a really funky looking rollover protective structure on this one. I've never seen one that was triangle shaped, but yeah, just made to go down through the narrow rows of an orchard or a vineyard.
Yeah, I'd say the ratio between tire height and tractor width is about as high as I've seen. It's short and stout.
Yeah, it's really, really small, stocky build.
Orchard tractor doesn't have a loader, so they mainly mow it in between the trees and
well, they would use a tractor like this to pull their buggy with that they was picking the fruit and putting on, or stuff like that. A lot of orchards do a lot of different spraying techniques, and they'd have to have something to get down between the rows to spray. I don't know for sure, but it used to be that just about all orchards was all handwork, and so anything you could do to make that handwork closer to where you was picking it off the tree or whatever, instead of having to carry it very far, well, you would be better off. So they would try to get down the rows between the trees. The orchard work that's around here, they actually use little Ford tractors to do most of it, and it'll be in a pecan grove. I don't know if you got pecan trees on your place, but you get over around the Neosho River, there's a lot of pecan groves down in there that harvest the pecans, and they use machines that are really short and tractors that are really short to get through there and do their harvesting.
I try to avoid having a whole lot of nuts on my property.
Well, there's always one, isn't there? One in every group.
So, you got a bunch of tractors. What'd you buy this one for?
It was in the deal.
Yeah. You bought it because you like buying tractors?
I like selling them better than buying them, but you can't just sell them.
It's a two-part process.
Yeah, you gotta have them before you can sell them. And
so if anybody out there watches my videos for some reason, but's interested in getting an old farm tractor that still does work, Paul's got a bunch of them sitting around here. I bet he'd sell you one.
This one here, I'd like to get. I think I got it priced at $2,900 or something like that. Make somebody a good little mowing tractor, full type mower. It's missing the lower arms on the 3-point. It didn't have them when I got it, so. But man, it sure starts right up. I bet if you hit that, it'd start in gear. I don't know if it has a clutch switch on it or not.
Might be better not to find out.
I wouldn't want to find out where you're standing in front of the tire.
They get on me a lot for starting my tractor while I'm not on the seat.
Yeah.
But besides the fact I can very clearly see the gear lever, it's got like 3 layers of safety that stops it from starting whenever you're not in the seat.
Yeah.
So it's a piece of history. She's a beaut, Clark.
It's a dandy. This other tractor is the one we just got done putting a clutch in. I can tell you all the bad things about this tractor, but it has a lot of good stuff. This door handle's broke. You can't get into it from the outside when it's latched. I haven't been able to get the blower motor to work, but that could just be a fuse, or it could be full of a squirrel's nest or a rat's nest or something. The thing's been parked for 2 years that I know of, and I think it'd been parked for some time before that. I've got a front tire I'm gonna have to fix. I don't know. If I don't get the money out of this one I want, I may just keep it. Loader is like in perfect condition, and this loader has some attributes that I really want you to see. I want to show off to you. It's beginning technologies of quick attach stuff, and the loader itself is made to where it would slide off on its own, and it had its own stand. And believe it or not, you can see these hooks here, and this place in the front where it's hooked down. The only thing that's holding it on the tractor is these. One of those on each side. And it's made so that you could flip those over, set it down, flip those latches, and back out of it as you're raising the loader, and it'll put this down to the ground. And it'll actually lift the back end up off of those hooks back there, and it'll be its own stand. This tractor was new in 1981, between 81 and 84. Now, a friend of my uncle had bought a brand new 1190 case and had a loader identical to this one put on his tractor about that time. So think about that. It's 40-year-old technology. And this was pretty cutting edge back then, that you could slip your loader off without having to have any tools.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It says this tractor is 62 PTO horsepower and 53 drawbar. 3.5 liter 4-cylinder Fiat diesel. Weighs a little. Tractor itself weighs a little over 6,000 pounds.
Would this be capable to use as a hay tractor?
Yep, absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm going to. And I'm going to use it maybe to pull my baler if it's still here when I bale some square bales.
Yeah.
And I was going to let you have opportunity to come and bring your tractor to see if it'll pull my square baler.
I'd be all about it. I would love to find that out.
My square baler is a little bit hefty for a 30 horse tractor, but maybe not a 38. But those,
It's supposed to be 30 on the PTO.
those square balers, you can run them on a smaller tractor as long you just don't feed them as hard.
So what are you trying to get out of this tractor?
8,500.
8,500.
And what drives that? Think about this. If you look on Craigslist or Marketplace trying to find one that has a cab and has a loader, there's a cut between 10,000 and 35,000, and when you get lower than that, there's not very many tractors with a loader on them out there. This thing's in pretty good shape.
Well, and you could do a lot of work with it.
Like I said, I can tell you all the bad things it needs. It has that blower motor problem. It kind of needs back tires or dry crack from sitting around. Got a lever in there. All you gotta do is pull up on that and pull back. Stay up.
Came all the way here. I guess I ought to drive this thing.
From the States, made to where you can
Run it with the door half open.
Yeah.
Vented.
little latch there.
I like it.
There's one on each side.
But
The door don't get in the way of anything when
open like that unless you run too close to something. Well, I'll try not to do that then.
Doing anything.
So we got a sunshade here. That's surprising to have that still on it after 40 years.
That's what I'm saying.
And so you got turn signals down here.
Radio.
We got a windshield wiper, radio. Boy, this is a little fancier than I'm used to seeing from you.
Go on, dude.
He said he don't wait on nobody, but I don't know.
All right, Paul, I got a question for you. So, I've been to some of these tractor dealerships, and they'll sell you a machine just about like this one. Brand new paint and everything for like 80K. Do you ever think about doing that?
It's got to be old, rusty, and crusty for me to even want it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. I'm old, rusty, and crusty myself. I don't know.
You always got to think, how many bales of hay do you need to get to pay for that machine?
Yeah.
Quite a few, I think. I haven't done the math on hay bales to get to that much money, but...
Well, my dad bought a round baler in 1979 because his brothers and him were getting to a point in their life where his brothers are both older than him, and they all put up their hay together. And they would spend every weekend through the summer putting up somebody's hay. It was a lot of work. It was all hand work. And then when you go take it out of the barn, it's the same way. It's all hand work. And the next one up from my dad, his name was Riley. Riley and my dad went together and bought a round baler. And they bought a demonstrator of a model that was still out new in production then, and paid $4,800 for it. Now at that time, when Dad first started, he was getting $8 a bale to bale a round bale. That's a lot of bales to make that pay for itself.
Yep. And that math always gets me whenever I see a $500,000 machine cutting corn that sells for 50 cents a can. Like, yeah, man, that's a lot of corn to pay for that.
I bet 50 cents a can's high dollar corn. The bushels on, actually when you convert it into 100 pounds, it's about like what, $9 right now, $8, something like that. $8 for 100 pounds of it. And they might make, this year, I doubt if they got 100 bushel on their corn around here, which would be 6,000 pounds to the acre or something like that. Yeah. But we've had everything apart on it. The power steering lines all had to come apart, and they lost all the fluid out of them. We had the diesel lines apart because the tank's back there. And that was something I was really impressed with. It. The thing started up on the second crank over, even after having all the diesel lines unhooked from the tank to the injection pump. And so, it's pretty reliable. Doesn't it look like a racing tractor practically? Look at the big old pinstripe down the side of it. That almost looks like the precursor to a Nike check mark.
Cool old machine. So if you're looking for a hay tractor that can still do a lot of work, but don't want to spend a whole lot of money, check out Paul here. He's got one for you.
I got a couple old tractors.
So I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.